Hey guys, so for today's lesson, we're just going to go back and do what we did on Monday. We're going to stick with finding the perimeter of irregular figures. Before we do that, I want to go back to some of our geometry lessons that we learned earlier in the year, and mostly about the characteristics of rectangles. So one characteristic of a rectangle that's going to help you with today and that you should remember is that opposite sides of a rectangle are parallel and congruent. Okay, this congruent, it means opposite sides are going to be equal. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the problem that we had on Monday. These should look familiar. So you should have solved a problem like this, and what you had to do is you had to find the missing side lengths and then calculate the perimeter. So we're going to start off, and we always need to remember our tips when finding the perimeter of irregular shapes. Our first one is just check to see if you have all the side measurements. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to see if any of my side measurements are missing. Well, I do. I see one that's missing, this one right here. Okay, so that was my first step. And then I need to go to step 2 or tip 2. Use the side measurements you know to find the ones you don't know. So what that means is that I have to figure out, well, I know that this line that we don't have a measurement for is going horizontally, okay? And I also know the opposite sides of rectangles are equal and congruent. So if this line, if we stretch this and we put this right down here by this line, we would have one large rectangle, okay? And this would be one side of the rectangle, and this would be the opposite side. Okay, so we know that this is horizontal, and this is a horizontal line. Okay, we're going to look for its opposite horizontal line, which is up here, which is the 10 centimeters. So if this is 10 centimeters, then I know that this line and this line should also equal 10 centimeters as well. Well, what plus 5 will give me 10? Well, I know 5 plus 5 is 10, so that means my missing side length is 5 centimeters. Okay, so this takes some practice, figuring out which lines belong where. Okay, now I have my missing side lengths. I have all of them. I'm going to need to go to my third step, is add up all the side measurements to find the perimeter. Okay, so I have 10, 7, 5, 4, 5, and 3. I like to add friendly numbers. Well, I know 7 and 3, that's 10. I have another 10. And then I have a 5 and a 5, which is another 10, and then my 4. So then I have 34 centimeters. That is my perimeter of this rectangle. Be sure to use your units of measurements when you're finding the perimeter. Let's try another one. Okay, here's another irregular figure. So we're going to find the perimeter of that, which means the distance around the shape. Again, I'm going to go to my first tip, is number 1. Check to see if you have all the side measurements. Well, this little line right here doesn't have a measurement, and neither does this one. So I need to go to step 2. Use the side measurements you know to find the ones you don't know. Okay, I'm going to find this measurement one. I'm going to use a different color so to help us not get confused. Well, that line is running vertically or up and down. Okay, and I know if I stretch this and put it over here, I would have one big line that would make one large rectangle. So I know that this line and this line go together, okay? And their opposite side is over here. It's running vertically up and down as well. So I know that this side and this side are going to be congruent in size. Well, if this is 8 millimeters, these need to equal 8 millimeters as well. Well, this is 6, but we don't know this. So 6 plus what number will give me 8? Well, I know 6 plus 2 is 8, so that's going to be my missing side, is 2 millimeters. So I found that missing side length. I'm not done because I have to find my other missing side length right here. And this line runs horizontally. So I know I'm going to shade a different color because it's running the opposite direction. So if I stretch this way up here, it would connect with this line. So this line and this line, they would be considered the same if we made one large rectangle. So I'm going to highlight this other horizontal line green. So this one and this one, when I put them together, should equal its opposite side, which is 10 millimeters. So 6 plus what number will give me 10? Well, I know 6 plus 4 will give me 10. So 4 millimeters is my other missing side length. Now I've finished finding all of my missing sides. I can go on to my last and final step, which is add up all the side measurements to find the perimeter. Okay, perimeter means the distance around the shape. So I'm going to add friendly numbers. 6 and 4 is 10. 8 and 2 is 10. And then I have another 10 and a 6. So I get a perimeter of 36 millimeters. Easy enough. Okay, so your assignment is you're going to get another worksheet kind of like the one you had on Monday, and you're just finding perimeter. Please read the directions. So if it asks you to label the missing sides, make sure you do that first and then find the perimeter. If you have any questions, remember you can email me or message me on Rhine. Please read directions. Thanks.